we are putting the wraps on project number one, though I have yet to evaluate everybody's final submission on the cash flow and balance sheet. And no doubt we'll have some corrections that'll need to be made, based on the feedback that I give some of you. So we'll be working through that a little bit, but it's time to start project two as we move into the second half of this semester. So project two, if we go here and first thing, open up this Word doc, project two introduction. Again, it's under project two in Brightspace. If you scroll down to there, click on that module. Okay. So you click on this introduction, open that up, the Word doc, and be sure to read through it. I'll give you just the basics as we go through it. And kind of like that first project, there will be some intermediate assignments that you need to do, and do them well, please, because ultimately the final submissions are graded fairly rigorously. Okay, my expectations are quite high, and so I want you to make sure that you take advantage of these intermediate assignments and the feedback that I give you on these intermediate assignments so that you can write an excellent final paper. So what we're doing in this particular project is we're going to evaluate, you are going to evaluate a publicly traded company. And the publicly traded companies are oftentimes the ones that we see and hear in the news. Okay? But not necessarily. There are big companies that are not publicly traded. I believe Cargill, for example, is one of the biggest companies. Dell Computers went through a period where it was a private company, then it went public, and then it went back to being a private company, and they may have even gone public again. I'm not sure. So, there can be some changes in those companies, obviously, and what happens. And so, kind of walk through, some of the criteria that you want to use when you choose the company. Okay, and we'll go through that. But here again, your final assignment, it says, kind of walk through this a little bit. It's going to be a due in finals week. Okay, and you're going to evaluate primarily the financial information of a company. There are a few other things that I will have you add to this paper to add a little bit of context. Okay. Here's some examples of places where you can get the financial information. I put this one first, and I've just added that I added it last semester. I wanted to make sure that you have it. This Seeking Alpha I have found now to be probably one of the better sites for getting the basic information. Ultimately, you're going to have to dig deeper for information than what we get from Seeking Alpha, but this is going to give you some basic information. By the way, if you don't know how to open these from this Word doc that's open on your computer, if you hit the control and then hover over it, it would allow you then to open up these links and take you right to those. But note that I have also provided that link on there. If you click on that, that should open up a new tab that would take you right to the Seeking Alpha, and I'll do that in a minute or two. Okay. So your first assignment is to, using one of the above companies, choose. Okay, you got to choose a public company, and actually I kind of have this broken down into two assignments. For that, I kind of apologize. I should have started the other one a little bit earlier. Okay, so choose a public company that you think you want to analyze, and tell me what the company is. Right? Pretty basic, right? Okay. Keep it simple, kind of like the first project. It's very important to keep this simple. And what do I mean by that? Does that mean it has to be a small company? No. Can it be a large company? Well, yeah. The important thing, I think, it makes it a little bit easier, okay, to analyze is if you choose a company that has a fairly limited income stream. Okay. Some examples. General Electric is a huge conglomerate, right? They make jet engines, they make train engines, they make light bulbs, they make a lot of medical equipment, on and on and on and on. Extremely difficult, because to do a good, thorough analysis of that, you probably have to analyze each of those divisions within that company. Microsoft at one time, virtually all their income came from their Office suite and some operating operating computer operating systems. Okay, but now Microsoft has become kind of a conglomerate. On the other hand, Apple, and Apple's one of the biggest companies in the world, still most of their income is derived from the sale of products. Different products for sure. They've got the phones and the iPads and those different things. So certainly there could be some different products, but it's pretty much that. So Apple's not necessarily a bad choice. Costco. Well, Costco's got a very basic business model, right? They open stores, they buy goods, and then retail them to you and I, right? Even though it's a huge company. So it's not really the size in this case that matters, but just think in terms of a company that has a fairly limited footprint, if you will, in terms of what they buy, or I'm sorry, in terms of what they sell maybe, or where they earn their income. And I'll give you one here that I kind of look at. So WD-40. Well, what's WD-40? We all kind of know what WD-40 does. And WD-40 is, in fact, a publicly traded company. I know that because I've kind of looked at it. Okay. They actually get into a couple things. They've got two basic divisions. One is retail and one is industrial. So they sell a lot of industrial lubricants to probably companies, manufacturers, and whatnot that need the lubricants in their business, right? Okay, so there you go. It's kind of a small company, might not be that difficult to analyze. Just one example that you could do. And so the second part of this assignment is, okay, find the ticker symbol of that company, usually from 1 to 4 letters. Microsoft's, I give you as an example, is MSFT. So I might just come up here to my search engine. What is the ticker symbol of D40? Okay, my tab, hit my enter. There it is. Okay, it's traded on the NASDAQ. We'll talk a little bit more about the two major trading platforms, the NASDAQ and the New York Stock Exchange. But it's traded on the NASDAQ, and the ticker symbol then is WDFC. Okay, what happens if I just plug that in, WDFC, into a search engine and hit my enter? Okay, it gives me kind of the same information that I just had, but it gives me a little bit of this information, which is kind of nice. Okay, and so now I've done that. Okay, but it says tell me the company's last closing price. This obviously is going to change from day to day. Okay, in this case it's a business day, and so we're right in the middle of the day. Okay, and so it's plus 18, but right down here, if I come down here, it says previous close. So that would have been the close as of Friday, since this is Monday that I'm recording this. That would have been the close as of Friday. And so I could certainly use that number. Okay? Now I got the second part of that assignment then, right? Tell me the company's PE ratio. I don't know if that's, yeah, it is going to show up here. Okay? So PE, P/E, stands for price to earnings ratio. Okay? Price to earnings ratio is 37.7. Okay? Well, what's that mean? That means that this price, $172.69, divided by its earnings, okay, gives you this number, 37.7. Now I could calculate its earnings per share then, just by taking the 172.69 divided by 37.7, and that would give me its earnings per share. What's that look like? About $4, something like that. That's just kind of a real rough guess, but I might also be able to do it this way, and let's go take a look at that, because I wanted to let you guys see this site, the Seeking Alpha. Up here is my search, right? And it just says symbols, authors, keywords. So by symbols, it's asking for ticker symbol. Yeah, my computer kind of froze up a little bit. Let's hopefully this will, yeah, so it brings up the WD40, WDFC being the company's ticker symbol. Oh, and this gives me all kinds of, look at there, my math is off, shoot. Okay. Anyhow, it gives me all kinds of information, and we're going to get into far more detail on this and the different things that you can look up here and this will contribute mightily to your final paper. So it's a really nice site to go to get this information. But the last part of this assignment was, tell me the company's previous year's earnings per share. Well, we got a problem here, okay? Because that's earnings per share FWD, which is the forward-looking earnings per share. Oh, that's kind of interesting. I might have to go and do a little deeper look. Let's take a look at the financials and see what we can come up with. Income statement, I've got annual. I like to click on this because it'll bring it latest on the left, so it brings it here. So this is the trailing 12 months, but this was last year's. Now, good learning lesson here. Companies can have different year ends. They're not all on December 31st. A corporation can have a completely different year end. And so if I said last year's, I'd be interested in this August was their year end. Okay. Now if I scroll down, keep scrolling, revenue, basic earnings per share, $4.91. So I said $4. I was off a little bit. Okay. That 5 something is a projection, that we saw on that prior page. So this is the number ultimately that I would be looking for, is this 491. Okay. You'll also see down here diluted earnings per share, and we'll talk about that as we go along. There's a reason for that, but really, if you put one or the other, I'd be fine with it. Just maybe even put what it is, right? This is basic EPS, okay? Or if you put this other number, the 490, and you labeled it as diluted EPS, great. I'm happy with either one of those, okay? And again, we'll get some more understanding about those as this assignment goes on. You know what? That completes that assignment, okay? So it's something that just gets us started. We'll have plenty of, like I said, intermediate assignments as we go along, kind of each week that I'll discuss. So don't be surprised, and feel free if you want to, especially in the next day or two, if you want to send me the company, and so I can take a look at it and say, ooh, good choice, bad choice. That would be wonderful. Again, it doesn't really matter the size, but try to use a company that has kind of a limited revenue stream. I think that will make your job a lot easier then for this final project. So with that, I'll sign off and wish you all good luck.